Today, we're back with Mark Koulianos. We are so excited to have you back, Mark. Thanks for joining us. For our podcast disclaimer, please visit the episode description. I want to talk about your new HR certificate program.
Yeah.
So, haven't we been here and done this before? What are we doing?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about the new HR certificate program. We've really tried to take a look at the things that we've offered in the past and think about how we can modernize them for the future workforce. And we've been doing this HR program for 25 years plus. We've been blessed to have great instructors like you, Kelley, and others for a good portion of it. But what we really wanted to focus on was modernizing some of the curriculum, but also going more to a cohort model or a semi-cohort model.
And explain what that means.
Yeah. So in the past, we've had a certificate that was been as many as 10 courses. You take you could take any of the 10 courses in any order, where now we are trying to do it in a way where you start at a certain time with a certain group of people and you finish with that group of people. So you still sign up for the courses individually, but the hope is we've structured it in a way that you stay with that same group. And we've done that for a couple reasons. One is we feel like it helps you build your network once you get out into the HR world. As you know, especially in the Tampa Bay area, I always say it's the largest smallest city around. Everybody knows everybody, especially in the HR community. So I think having that group of people that you go with together, once you get out, you'll have your network, a good chunk of your network already built. But also the nature of HR is in a place right now where there needs to be a lot of conversation and a lot of debate. And so we're hoping that by doing this cohort, that it will facilitate that. So not even just, in the classroom, but outside of the classroom, as people are really thinking about going into this field as a long-term career, they're starting to think about these things and they're bouncing ideas off of each other and concerns or excitement or whatever about each other. So those are the two biggest things. The nice thing about it is you can finish in about 3 months. You can do it. It's at night. So you can continue to keep your job, your day job, and then, you can transition into this once you finish with your certificate.
So what is it that you saw needed to be, I think the word you used was modernized?
Yeah, certainly we're going to try to talk about AI, but I just think some of the changing nature of HR. I'll give you an example. When we also teach the SHRM Society or Human Resources Management prep courses for people to get those certifications. Much like project management, there's been an evolution of being able to have more conversations, kind of like where we started off with this conversation. And I think, it's things like that. It's but there's a bunch of different things. Compensation has changed. How do compensation models work now? What are the things you have to take into consideration? We always had a compensation course, but now what are the things that have changed about the current environment that you have to stress versus it might be things? HR law, which is one that you teach, and ethics. How are those changed? Those laws are always changing, right? And with the political, atmosphere that we're in now, we've seen kind of a shift in the pendulum one way and then back another way. And so those things always have to be updated. And, it was in each class, there were certain things that I felt like had changed enough. We still want those foundational pieces of that. But there were certain aspects that had changed enough that we needed to do a refresh.
And so, we've combined compensation and benefits into total rewards.
Right.
Because that also involves workplace culture, your ability to work in the community. Right. A lot of what those are. We've also added the behavioral piece of applied behavior analysis, which just happens to be my master's.
Yes.
But we've added that to the core concept because understanding the motivation, understanding what makes someone tick or where you can, what the function of that behavior, why aren't they showing up to your meeting?
Right.
Why are they always late? What's the reason? What's the reason for that behavior? We've added.
Yeah.
Because that's an important aspect. It isn't just the technical, but it's the art and science of HR.
Which I think is really important. And again, there's those really important foundational things, but then there's, I don't want to say cultural things, but we have a majority of a remote workforce. How does that change? How do you manage across, how does HR support people now that you're managing a hybrid or a remote workforce kind of thing? So it's, things like that. I'm trying to think what else, Kelley.
Yeah, but a lot. I mean, when I think, as we've been sitting here talking about different things, I was thinking, and I use that example sometimes in class, and I realize some folks are just shaking their head at me now. When I'm like, you used to catch employees' attention and employee communications with a pay stuffer in their paycheck.
Right.
Because they always paid attention to anything that was with the check. And now that's completely lost. People sometimes don't even know with direct deposit didn't even go in. And now with early pay on banks and that, they don't even know.
Right.
And so that we lost that complete piece, but replaced it with an intranet, if you will. But there's been so much.
I had an employer or a group of employers ask me the other day about something that I would be considered part of onboarding potentially. But they said, what we're finding out is that people aren't ready to work. So that usually means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And it's usually more about critical thinking and those foundational skills that we talked about before. But what was really interesting about this, they were like, we have benefit fairs, or we have as part of the onboarding, we have benefit workshops or whatever. And then people go to choose their benefits. They don't know how to choose what's right for them. Like, if you're a young employee, do you need, all the coverage? Are you just going to get the hospitalization plan? And I was like, well, I don't know if I can help, help around that. But it reflects back that the changing nature of the workforce, whether it's generational or whatever, there's certain things that we, being a little bit further in our career now, would have taken for granted that this younger generation, as they're getting into the workforce, struggle with.
Well, I mean, they can be kept on healthcare plans till they're 26. I had folks in the previous benefits program who took the class to understand what benefits were.
Right.
I've had parents want to call to be understanding the benefits that their child now can go into. They're on family plans for the phone well into their third jobs even, right? I mean, so we've redefined what it means to when adult happens.
Right. So, I mean, in all of our classes, each one of the classes that make up the certificate, we cut it from 10 to 6. We combine
and they're longer.
They're a little bit longer.
Why are they longer?
They're longer so that we can make sure that you can go further, faster, and get done in 3 months. So, we thought we could add a little bit to it, make it a little bit more intense. But again, it's designed for working adults.
And I think we're able to, from an instructor perspective, it gives us the chance to make those breakouts a little longer. Perhaps have a debrief afterwards so everyone gets to hear what everybody said in their own little pods.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was another reason for the refresh, is we really wanted to make things more experiential and a lot more engaging. So it's not just sage on the stage kind of lecturing and thing.
Yeah.
So we've always had that as part of our HR program, but we tried to accentuate that now and make that a little bit where it's more of stressed, I guess, within the curriculum.
So who would be the people who should be signing up for the new certificate program? And is that the same as who was signing up for the previous one?
I think it is the same.
Okay.
It's just we've again, refreshed it and I think made it better. I think it was great before. The fact that it stood the test of time for 25 years,
amazing.
and you walk around, when we go to HR conferences and stuff, they go, oh, hey, I got my certificate through you guys. I remember Linda Bailey. I know Kelley, whatever it was, you hear that. And so we know that within at least the Tampa Bay area in Florida, we've had a big impact. So I would say it's the same people. It's people that really, truly want to get a career, have a career in HR, and they're looking for a place to start. But also people that may want to come back and brush up on certain parts of HR that they might have been in talent acquisition and now they want to go into total rewards, right? Compensation and benefits. So I think it serves people that want to get into the HR community, but we're also going to try to serve people that are already in the HR community that want to build on their knowledge and their foundation, especially like the specialty courses, not part of the certificate program, but those specialty courses that we have really speak to people that are already kind of in the HR field and maybe looking to upskill and go to a different part of HR. They don't want to reskill and do something else. They want to upskill and broaden their knowledge about human resources management.
And one of those is HR, basically for the non-HR people. It's going to be for management, which hasn't been offered before except on one-offs. Requests. So talk about the reach out for like that particular course, though you have others, obviously.
Yeah, I love that course. It's meant for managers. Again, when you first get into management, this is true now as it was when I was, a lot of times you just get thrown in. So, the fact of the matter is certain people have traits where they can be a good leader and manager, but that doesn't protect you.
Right.
Where you could inadvertently break some kind of employee law or, a corporate policy or things like that. So I think it's great having that background as a people manager, especially as a first-time people manager, is really important because not only will you keep yourself hopefully out of trouble, but also you'll know when you need to engage with HR because you'll have an understanding of the function that they actually provide.
Yeah.
The second group I think that's really good for are small business owners. Same thing, right? Same exact thing. You have a consulting practice, what happens sometimes with small business owners, how they can
and they have the biggest job growth.
The 100%. And I'm hoping that there's going to be more of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of pitfalls and hurdles that you can avoid as a small business owner if you have some HR training.
We've had operations people attend. We've had general managers attend some of the classes. And some of them have been, I just wanted to know what was going on over there.
Yeah.
And that's why they took that. We had a recent student who said, I had no idea all of this was HR.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at the organizational structure, it must be the most underappreciated department in the business.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea at all those. And that was from the core concepts class.
Yeah.
That just talks a little broad brush on everything HR. And then they were just saying, I only knew it through talent acquisition or when I had to sign up for benefits.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah. No, it's a fascinating subject.
Yeah.
That's why I had gotten my SHRM senior SCP or whatever it is, senior certified professional, because I find it a fascinating field, and I believe to my core that, again, as long as we have people working, you are going to need a very strong and robust HR team. So understanding that and being, even if you're not, I think it's a great career for people to go in, because I've also seen people that have started out as a recruiter or, at the lowest level of HR, move all the way up to an HR business partner.
Yep.
And, it's not uncommon now. I mean, it's still less common than coming from sales or IT, but now you have HR leaders leading companies. So it's potentially a great future for you if you want to make a career out of it.
Our conversation continues with Mark Koulianos. Be sure to subscribe to What the Heck is Happening in HR. We're on all your podcast platforms.